Welcome everyone to Gentle Yoga. This is Leo Bray on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs. Visit us online at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook or at urbanyoga.org on the web. Check out the schedule, stop by the tip jar, and for YouTubers, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for us. We'll start today's sitting, or if you would rather, kneeling. You don't have to sit just like this. Get comfortable, whatever that looks like for you. Settle into your contact with the ground. Close your eyes if you want. Let your hands rest wherever it feels good for you. Observe your breath. Let it slow down and get deeper as you find your comfortable stillness. You don't have to remain perfectly still. You can always adjust. Thinking about the whole length of your spine, bottom to top, to help you sit up tall without being rigid or stiff. Taking in the rhythm of your breath, the rising, expansion of the inhale, the grounding, contraction of the exhale. Notice where in your body these deeper breaths are felt. Do they feel good? Do they feel easeful? Are you allowing your breath to get deeper or forcing it to get deeper? Let's go with allowing. We won't force anything. Taking in whatever's going on around you just so far as it's reaching your senses now. Scan your body from head to toe to take in whatever sensations are present. What's going on aside from the movements of the breath? Take mental notes in particular of anything that doesn't feel so good so that you can keep it in mind as we practice, knowing that you're always welcome to skip or modify any part of practice, especially when it's to accommodate an issue that you've got going on. If you wish to layer on any more specific personal intention for today's practice, you can do that now. And with our intentions in place, let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth with a sigh. You can let your eyes open if they're still closed. Let's start right at the top with the neck. Often our necks are stiff in the morning. Let your chin gently come toward your chest. And very slowly start to roll your ear towards your shoulder. Let your head tip back. Other ear towards the shoulder. Chin back to center. Really take your time. And if there's any particular tight spots, you can pause to maybe rock back and forth at the tight spot, like untying a knot. See if you can focus and ease out some of that tension. When you finish the next circle, change direction. We'll focus a bit today on neck and shoulders. Often in the morning, our necks are stiff. And most of us, to some degree, carry excess tension, stress, and such in the shoulders and upper back and in the neck. Sometimes we wake up with a mysterious tightness or ache, like we quote, we say, I slept the wrong way. When you come to center, lift your chin and look forward. So with this in mind, working on the neck, we'll do side bends with neck traction. Reach your arms out to the side and rest your fingertips on the floor. So stay long in the spine. Inhale, reach your left arm up alongside your ear. As you exhale, let your arms drape over the top of your head so your fingertips come to rest by your right ear. Just gently let the weight of your arms bring your head to the left. We're working here on lengthening this. This is the trapezius. This muscle attaches here at the base of the skull and heads down to the shoulder blades. And if you want, you can play with lifting your right hand and reaching out through your fingertips. And maybe you can feel the point where that trapezius is at the longest. If you raise your arm higher, then you're shortening it the other way. Just a little bit off the floor with that hand. And here's the kind of tricky part. First, let this right hand down. Let your neck stay relaxed. Let your hand slide across your head and come down to your cheek, and let your arm do the work of nudging your head back to center. Let your hand down. The tricky thing sometimes is letting one part be passive, let the other do the work. Inhale, raise your right arm. Exhale, let your arm drape over your head. Gently draw your head to the right. And if you want, you can lift your left hand, reach out through your fingertips. I like to think of like there's something here I want to pick up and I'm not looking at it. Where is it? Right there. You can always think of sending your breath into the tight spots too. That can be helpful. Let the left hand down if it's raised. Remember to let your neck stay relaxed. Let your right hand slide over and come down. Use your right arm to lift your head. Let that hand down. We'll take some seated twist, staying long in the spine. Bring your right hand to your left leg and bring your left hand to the floor behind you. Still just the fingertips. Stay tall. Inhale, lengthen up even more. Exhale, invite your body to twist some more. Let's work our way up from the waist. With each exhale, invite a deeper twist if it feels like there's room for it. Again, not forcing throughout. We'll avoid forcing. Inviting a deeper exploration of the twist. I find it so much more valuable to invite the body to do things instead of bossing it around and forcing things. And yes, I've done a lot of both, so I have a good basis for comparison. Let yourself unwind, come back to center. Bring your left hand to your right leg and your right hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, see about twisting some more. So we just want to find out how much seems like enough. The question being more important than the answer. It doesn't matter if one side goes further than the other or which side goes further, and we don't need to make them be the same. It's fine to note these differences. That's natural. Let yourself unwind and come back to center. Rest your hands on your knees or your thighs. We'll do some seated cow and cat breath. focusing on the heart as the center of the movement. Inhale, draw your heart forward, let your head sit back. Exhale, draw your heart back and let your head tip forward. And just follow your own breath a few more times. Moving the heart and thinking of just letting the heart be the center of the spine. Your heart's not really quite the center of your spine, but it's the center of the movement. And let the movement of the upper and lower spine just go along with what the heart's doing. How the curves of your spine work. When one part moves, the other part wants to move as well. When we sit up tall, we think of sitting up straight. Maybe you were told to sit up straight when you were younger. But there's nothing straight about a healthy spine. A healthy spine is a curvy thing. After your next exhale, sit up. And your spine incidentally moves in 6 different ways. Now, we do this every practice. I don't talk about it every practice, but we already did all 6 of them. So the side bend, that's 1, 2, and then the cow cat, 3, 4, actually the other order, 5, 6. The twist were 3 and 4, the cow cat were 5 and 6. But that's the 6 directions of your spine. So if you deliberately move in all 6 of those directions every day, helps keep your spine healthy. And remember, your neck is just the top of your spine. We often talk about our neck like a separate thing. It's part of the spine. Let's rest our hands on the floor in front and just walk them forward as far as you can. And it doesn't matter where that is. And as your arms come forward, let the neck disengage. Let your head hang. And breathe into wherever you're getting the most sensation. Likely somewhere in your back. Maybe your shoulders. Again, we talked about shoulders like a separate thing, and they are in one sense, but when it's in the back of the body, your shoulders are part of your back. Everything's connected. Different ways to look at and talk about things. Maybe you keep reaching your hands forward, or maybe you press away from the floor with your hands. What feels good for your body? Maybe you play with pushing one hand forward and pulling the other hand back. How does that feel? And we can explore some side stretching here. Walk your hand over to the left. To whatever degree feels okay. Just letting your head kind of track with your arms. Let the neck stay relaxed. Let the head keep hanging. Walk your hand slowly back through center and then over to the right. And walk your hands back to center and then back in towards you to sit up. And let's make our way up onto our hands and knees. Take your time. You might tip forward to do it or tip to the side. I'm going to shift around and grab a drink as I transition. My throat feels dry. Shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees. We can do some side bends from here actually. Inhale. Exhale, look over your right shoulder, look for your heel. Inhale, come through center. And exhale, look for your left heel. And do it 2 or 3 more times for each side. Inhaling to come through center. Exhaling to look over your shoulders. So imagine like a bird's eye view, your spine coming into like a C-shaped curve if you were looking down from above. And we'll meet up back at center. Inhale, reach back and press into the ball of your left foot. With your next inhale, reach your right arm out to the side. If you want to go even further with a little balancing and core engagement, on an inhale, pick your left foot up and reach straight back. To go even further, if you like, bend your knee, reach back, and if you can, grab your foot, ankle, or pant leg, then kick against your hand, lift your knee and your chin. So this is great for opening this right shoulder and stretching the left quadricep, opening the midline, and balancing. Release, and lower down. Let's take a few cow and cat breaths here, and then we'll do that sequence the opposite way. After the next exhale, come back to your table. Reach back, press into the ball of your right foot. On an inhale, reach your left arm to the side. If you like, with the next inhale, pick your right foot up and reach straight back. You bend your knee if you want and reach back to see about that bind, that additional stretching and opening and balancing. Release, lower down. Take a few cow and cat breaths, 3 or 4 times, moving the heart up and down. Bigger movements than the seated cow and cat breaths because the lower spine can move more this way than when you're seated. After your next exhale, come back to the table. We're going to explore some deeper twists here and maybe some extensions, depending on how you feel. So this twist, like the seated twist, is going to start at the waist and work up the spine. We're going to start here, go through lower back, middle back, upper back, and then into an arm extension. So we're going to go to the left first. So inhaling from the waist, twist to the left, lower back, middle back, upper back. Reach your left arm out and up and look up towards your hand. Exhale. Come down, reach across your body behind the other arm, thread the needle like that. And let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, open up, reach up, look up. Exhale, come down and across, look the other way. And 1 more. After the third one here, slowly let your left shoulder down to the floor and your left ear down to the floor. If your head doesn't quite want to reach the floor, shift your hips forward, and that should help your head come down to the floor. Now that might feel like a lot. You can stay right there. If you want to explore further, we've got options. You could reach back and press into the ball of your foot, similar to what we did a couple minutes ago. For more challenging play, you could pick that foot up, reach back in the air. This can make you tip over to the left and roll onto your back. Or you could bring this right foot over by your left hand. You could skip all that and leave your knee on the floor. You could keep your right hand here for stability, or if you feel like exploring more, you can reach your right arm up, fingertips towards the ceiling. Think of an owl turning its head. You could rotate back and forth like this, explore movement in the shoulder socket. It's a ball and socket joint that moves a lot. You can also Take a half plank here. You can bend your elbow, reach the back of your hand to your lower back or towards your opposite hip, wherever it feels comfortable for you. Maybe it's more like the middle of your back. You can do this arm extension without the leg extension, do the leg extension without the arm, or skip them both, or do them both like that. And we'll come out nice and slowly like we came in. So if you move your right hand, bring it back over here by your face, plant it, ground into it. And if you move your right leg, bring it back in line and bring the knee down again. Pressing into that right hand. Big inhale, open up, reach up, look up. Exhale, lower your hands. Let's take some cows and cats before doing all that to the other side. While you take your cow cat, I turn around. I'm not facing away from the camera. Once I'm down on the floor in my twist. After your next exhale, come back to your table. And now to twist to the right. Inhale through lower spine, middle spine, upper spine. Reach your right arm out and up. Exhaling, come down, reach across. 2 more times. And after that third exhale, nice and gently, let your right shoulder down, let the right side of your head down. Hey, I did that without any jarring noise. I'm wearing the microphone in my right ear. I was hoping I didn't make some loud noise for you. You could stay here, or if you want, reach back, press into the ball of the left foot, or reach that foot back in the air, or bring that foot over by your right hand. If you keep the left hand planted, or reach it up, explore that rotation, and or explore your half bind. I always like to do a little of everything here. It's not just when I'm leading the practice. If I were the student and someone else was leading this, I'd still do a little bit of each option. And in any position, we can breathe into sensation, breathe into any tightness that's still registering, or registering anew. Maybe you discovered a different trouble spot as you came into this position. And the breath where it's needed is the idea. And there can be a lot of power in that thought. If you've moved your left hand, bring it back and plant it. If you've moved your left foot, left leg, bring it back in line with the mat and bring the knee down. Press into your left hand. Big inhale. Open up, reach up, look up at the right hand. And exhale, come down to table. And you guessed it, take some cow and cat breath. And after your next exhale, come back to the table. And we're going to start to stand into a forward fold. You could use blocks under your hands here to ease the transition. Give you more room to move your legs. Step your right foot up between your hands. Step your left foot up to meet it. Hang out in the forward fold. So there's lots of options here. Let your head be heavy. That no matter what. Hands could rest on the block. Hands could hang in the air or drag on the ground. Sway back and forth, bending one leg from the other. Another option here, since we're exploring head and shoulders today, it's great to let the head hang down towards the floor. Your head weighs 10 or 12 pounds, and that weight will help lengthen your neck. You can take some neck traction here. We did some earlier to the side. You can clasp your hands, interlace your fingers, and put your hands at the base of your skull, so hugging your head with your wrists and forearms, and let the weight of your arms add to the weight of your head, drawing your head down towards the floor, lengthening your neck much more actively. And you can still sway back and forth a bit as you do that. Exploring lengthening in the back, backs of the legs. Lower back is where I feel this a lot. If you're clasping your hands, you're clasping your elbows, let your arms hang down. Nice and slowly nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Inhale, lift up, halfway press your hands to the front of your legs. Feel to the crown of your head, moving forward away from your tailbone, your spine telescoping out parallel to the ground. Exhale, relax down. Inhale, roll up to standing, hands overhead, palms together. Exhale, and bring your hands to your heart. Let your hands down at the side. Raise your right shoulder towards your ear. Slide it backwards and let it down. And then your left shoulder up and back and down. Now, often in a yoga class or other exercise, we do shrugs and move both shoulders like this, either rolling them back or rolling them forward. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The reason I do that specific adjustment of one shoulder at a time is that your shoulders will always rise at different heights. So like your posture, no matter where your posture is at, anybody, the shoulders are going to be in different positions. We're always kind of asymmetrical. You know, we look at ourselves and think everything's perfectly symmetrical. One ear is bigger than the other, one hand, one foot, whatever. And one shoulder is always riding a little higher than the other. So we adjust them independently. Inhale, reach out to the side. Exhale, you can reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or if you like, come to eagle arm. Intertwine your arms and press your hands together. Now, either way, we're opening the space between the shoulder blades. If you're in eagle, move your elbows and your hands up and forward. Inhale, open up. As you exhale, cross the opposite way. Take the hug or take your eagle. Inhale to open up. Exhale, twist to the right. Take a couple breaths in this twist. Inhale, face forward. Exhale, twist to the left and take a couple breaths. Inhale, face forward. Exhale, let your arms down. Inhale your arms out and up overhead. Take hold of your right wrist with your left thumb and forefinger. Inhale, reach up through both arms. Exhale, bend to the left. Keep feeling the length through both arms. Try to keep the right heel on the ground. It might want to lift up, but just let your head hang out wherever your neck is comfortable. So you could let your head slouch down across your arm like I'm doing, but keep it at center. Whatever feels okay for your neck here. This is more about stretching here. Inhale, come up through center. Switch your grip, the left wrist. On an exhale, bend to the right. Inhale, come up to center. Exhale, arms down. Need another sip of water here for this yogi to keep the words flowing. Reach your right arm across your body. Reach your left arm up to catch your arm. So just above the elbow. So the right, just above the right elbow, in the crook of the left elbow, and let the right arm be limp now. Inhale. Exhale, draw that arm outwards to the left. So you're bringing that shoulder towards the other side. Deep stretch going on there. Release. Opposite side, reach the left arm across. Forget what side I'm on. Bring the other arm up, support it, and then let the long one kind of go limp. And draw that shoulder to the other side. Relax. Inhale out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, back up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Step back to plank. Spend a few breaths with plank. Let the hips come down in line with your shoulders and knees. Let your knees down on the floor. A shorter plank serves you better. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down. And reach your arms out to the side. Palms down. And we're going to use the floor to explore opening shoulders the opposite way from what we just did there with the crossed arm reaching across the body. So grab the floor with your right hand. Walk your left hand in towards you and press away from the floor with the left arm. Walk up onto your right hip. So we're opening the front of the right shoulder here pretty deeply. And let the head rest on the ground. Now, with the twist we did on all fours, we have options. Maybe this is plenty. You could just hang out right here and breathe. If you want to explore more, you could lift your left leg away from your right, like opening a pair of scissors. Let the heel drift back. If that feels okay and you want to go further, bend the knee. And let the weight of your leg just hang. And see what happens over the next few breaths. Maybe the foot will drift towards the floor, but don't push it down. Just let it hang and see what happens. And maybe it'll surprise you. Touch down, maybe it'll hang out in the air. And of course, the movement of the leg presses the shoulder more forcefully against the floor, more opening there. You can always back out, back away from anything that doesn't feel good. Now, if you want, you could keep this left hand here because it's nicely stabilizing. If you feel more adventurous, you could reach this hand up. We can explore rotation. It's similar to the rotation earlier, yet it's different. Or we could explore a similar half bind. The bind is more similar than the rotation when comparing it to what we did on hands and knees. We get into these funny shapes. The breath registers in different places. And we'll come out nice and slowly. So if you've moved your left hand, bring it back over here by your face. Stabilize, pressing into that palm. If you've moved your left leg, take your time. Raise your foot. Extend your leg. Bring the foot forward above the other foot. Close the legs. Nice and slowly walk the left hand back out. So you come back onto your belly. You can rest on your chin, or if that doesn't feel good, rest on one cheek for a few breaths. And tune into how each shoulder feels. What feels different? What feels better? Hopefully nothing feels worse. Here's where the teacher reorients himself so he doesn't have his back to the camera. If you're resting on one cheek, come back under your chin. Grip the floor with your left hand. Walk your right hand in towards you. Press away from the floor. Come up onto your left side. If you want, raise the right leg away from the left. If you want, let the heel drift back. If it feels okay and you want to go further, bend your knee and see what happens. Let the weight of the legs hang. This is a pretty deep hip opener too, by the way. We're focusing on shoulders, but if you take this extension, you're definitely getting into that right hip. You could skip it and keep the legs together. Right leg on top of the left. You could keep this right hand here, or if you want, reach it up. Explore some owl head rotations back and forth, or explore half line, reach the back of your hand to your back. And let's take our time coming out. If you move your right hand, bring it back over here by your face, press into it to stabilize. And then if you move your leg, take your time, lift the foot, extend your leg, bring it forward, and let it down. Nice and slowly walk your right hand back out, come back onto your belly, and rest on your chin or on one cheek. Bring your hands in under your shoulders. Bring your chin back to center if you're on your cheek, of course. Inhale, press into your hands, lift your head and chest to a height that feels okay in your lower back. Inhale. Exhale, look over your shoulder, look to your right heel. Inhale through center. Exhale, look for your left heel. And do it a couple more times on each side like we did when we did this on all fours. Doing the same number of times for each side. And then exhale, let's rock back up on the hands and knees. Curl your toes under, press into your feet, lift your knees, press into your hands, lift your tail, downward facing dog, and pedal your feet up and down. Now, it's very late in our class to be doing our first downward dog. And the good news is our first downward dog is our last downward dog, because we're focused on neck and shoulders today. Nod your head. And shake your head. So down dog is lengthening the whole back of the body. It's very good for the backs of the shoulders. And then that's it. It's time to cool down. Let your knees down. Cross your ankles. Walk your hands in towards your knees, and you could roll over your ankles like this, or tip onto one hip and swing your legs around it. You don't want to roll over your ankles or can't. Maybe it just seems crazy. I remember when that seemed crazy, and now I do it all the time. Extend your legs forward and flex your feet back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Let your knees bend if they want to. When you inhale, think of the crown of your head reaching forward. When you exhale, think of lowering that. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit up. Bring the soles of your feet together and leave a big space between your pelvis and your heels. If you can, reach under your ankles. If there's not room to do that, that's okay. Not everyone can do that. Reach over your ankles and grab the mat. Either way, we're going to walk our hands forward on the mat. So maybe you're over your ankles, maybe you're under. Doesn't matter. They're both great. Pretzel folds. Let your neck disengage and your head hang down. Breathe into your back. Where's the most sensation? And you decide, do you keep your arms engaged and keep reaching forward, or do you let your arms relax and let your body melt into the fold? Which feels more beneficial for you? Slowly walk your hands back and lift your torso. Keep the soles of your feet together. Bring your heels in as close to your pelvis as you can. Interlace your fingers. Hold your toes between your hands. Wriggle on your seat. Let the bones in your seat come closer to the ground to tilt your pelvis forward and open the front of your head. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, hinge at those hips. Fold forward with a long spine. Take your time to see just how far down the long spine wants to go. And wherever the long spine stops lowering, then let your head lower, let your neck disengage, and breathe into your hips. Inhale, slowly sit up. Bring your hands to your knees, lift your knees towards each other, rest your feet on the floor. Bring your hands behind you. Wiggle your feet out by the edges of your mat. Let your knees go down to the left and turn your head to the right. Bring your knees over to the right, turn your head to the left. Just letting your knees go as far as they want to go. You may not touch down on the floor like this, but maybe they do. When I first did this, my knees certainly did not touch the floor. And let's come down onto our backs. Bring your feet about hip width apart. Shift your hands behind you, scoot towards your heels, come down onto your back. Or come down on your back and then scoot your heels towards your butt so that you wind up lying down with your heels in as close as they'll go. If you like, you can put a block between your knees on the middle position. We're setting up for bridge pose here. Press into the soles of your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up. If you want to go deeper with heart opener, you can wiggle your shoulder blades towards each other and clasp your hands under you and reach your knuckles towards your heels. Make sure your neck is relaxed, whether you're doing this fine or not. Don't scrunch up your neck. If you're clasping your hands, unclasp them. Exhaling, slowly lift your hips down and explore floating up and down a few times at your own pace. You can challenge yourself as much or as little as you like. You could repeat that bind. You could move more slowly, reach up higher, pause at the top of the movement. Or maybe you want to pause at the bottom of the movement. Not go so high, not go so slow. Make sure your breath flows smoothly and continuously, no matter how you're varying the postures and the movement. And let's come to a supported bridge. Lift yourself up, put a block under your sacrum and come down to rest on it. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use a lot of different things you can use to put under you here. Maybe a rolled up yoga mat if you've got a spare mat, throw pillows, bed pillows, folded blankets or towels, a foam roller if you've got one of those. Or for a low supported bridge with no props, you can stack your hands palms down and just rest your sacrum on the back of your hand. Think of your breath moving through the support at your sacrum. Press into the soles of your feet. On an inhale, lift your hips up. Remove the support that's under you. Exhale, slowly let your hips down. Pause for a few breaths after you touch down. Move your blocks out of the way. Draw your knees towards your chest. Hug your knees. Rock and roll on your back. Massage it against the ground in whatever way feels good for you. And let's grab our strap. Open it up, run it under your feet. Hold one end in each hand. If you don't have a strap at home, YouTubers, you can use the stash off your bathrobe. You can use a belt or two belts if your belts are shorter, if you're a smaller person. You could even use a rope. I've seen people use scarves, something long. Keep your sacrum, shoulder blades, and head on the ground. And lift your hands and your feet up so you're strapped and your legs and your arms are long. Point your toes at the ceiling. Point your toes towards your face. Let those feet relax. Slide them away from each other. When you get to the edge of your comfort zone, pause there for a couple breaths. Draw on the strap to guide your feet back towards each other. Take your right foot out. Press your right calf and right heel to the floor. Reach your left arm to the side. Draw your leg to the right and turn your head to the left. Keep your shoulder blades on the ground. Now your sacrum lifts away from the floor as your hips roll. We'll spend a minute here. Use the gentle guidance of the strap to help your leg go as far as it might want to go. You decide if you change the position of your arm, increase that gentle guiding tension, or you let things go slack and re-engage when you're ready. Bring it all back up to center. Switch hands on your strap. Press your right hand down on the front of your right hip bone. Keep that side down. Let your limbs fall over to the left. Very gently come back to center. Raise your right leg. Step into the strap. Take your left foot out. Press your left leg down. Reach your right arm to the side. Draw your leg to the left and turn your head to the right. Bring it all back up to center. Take the strap in your right hand. Press down on your left hip. Let your limbs fall open to the right. Keeping that left cheek on the floor. Nice and easy. Come back up to center. Lift your left leg. Draw your knees in. Set your strap aside. Reach your feet up. Reach your hands up to grab your legs or your feet. Play with bending and straightening your arms and legs. If there's some other inversion you'd prefer to do, of course, you're welcome to invert any way you like. And you can invert for as long as you like. Whenever you feel complete with it, you can make your way to Shavasana. Find your comfortable stillness. Let your breath get deeper and slower. Maybe just focusing on your breathing or reflecting on the intentions you had for today's practice, or just let your mind drift. Give yourself some even deeper breath. Slowly start to explore small movements. Let your movements gradually go bigger and bigger. Move mindfully. Take your time. When you're ready for bigger movements, gently sit up. Bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for sharing in practice today. The light within me sees and honors the same light within each of you. Namaste. See you next time. Be well.
Thanks, Leo.